This broadcast is presented by the authority of the Pacific Coast Sports Racing Association and the National Association of Professional Racing Leagues Incorporated for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, rebroadcast, retransmission, or any other disseminations or the use of this broadcast without the express written consent of the Pacific Coast Sports Racing Association and the National Association of Professional Racing Leagues Incorporated is prohibited. On the PCSRA Sports and Gaming Channel from Learfield IMG College. Welcome to Triple P on the Blue Hedgehog TV. Now here's the voice of the PCSRA, Mr. Daniel Voiles.
Pascal Wehrlein took a great win in the race at none other than Mexico City. After the race seen only 3 lead changes as the race reached its conclusion. Hi, welcome to the I Can't Believe We've Completed Our First Ever Race Weekend edition of Triple P. I'm Daniel Voiles. Welcome into the really cold outside of Yukon, Oklahoma. It's really chilly, and I do not want to tell you how cold it is. It's hopefully should be a lot better here in today's broadcast as well. So, yes. Welcome to our 3rd episode of Triple P, and also 176 of Triple P, which is hooray in all of that awesomeness. So, yay. And we're looking forward to that. The return of the expert panel has come in and braved the chilly weather in our PCSRA studios with another insightful analysis that says, let's make sure we are trying to stay warm. We want to welcome the program, Mr. Zachary Taylor, driver of the DeWalt Tools Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. How are you, Taylors? We're back having panelists. Oh yeah, if Taylor Jr. tries to do something like eject Zachary Taylor for excessive celebration, then I'm going to slap Zachary Taylor Jr. with a $100 fine administrative assessment. I think you know where I'm going with.
Yeah.
Yes, it has been a long time since we've had panelists on the show, so Taylor, what's your thoughts about the first podcast we're doing panelists for 2024 in a very long time, actually?
Yeah, definitely. It has been a long time since we've had guests on Triple P, so definitely feels kind of weird in some ways, but yeah.
Yeah, I could probably say that somebody's going to be like, hooray, panelists are back! What kind of goofiness are we in store for? I don't know. But we are excited to have panelists back, including our very own Zachary Taylor, who should be called the scientist. Oh, if Taylor thinks I'm going to sing that song from Frozen, I'm not going to do that, because if I do, I will get copyrighted by the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister, and then we're going to have a problem with that.
I do not think singing actual songs is a very good idea.
I don't think anybody is excited. And also, I should also point this out. This is also the first time we're actually recording this here on Twitch TV, but you're watching this on YouTube, so it's like a first for everything. So, can you believe, Taylor, we're only 24 episodes away from 200. Can you believe we've been on this journey since 2017? It's like, what kind of 2017 magic do you call this?
That is definitely a lot of episodes.
A lot of episodes, a lot of funniness. Hey, we're still the best crew in the whole wide world. That's all that matters so far. We got a lot of headlines we're going to discuss. Of course, as I said at the top of the show, Pascal Wehrlein gets his 5th win, as I'm going to go ahead and pull up the top 10 results from Formula E. which I have it right in front of me. Funny thing is, I'm going to start doing all of the results on the laptop and not on my phone, so it just saves me a headache. As I said, Pascal Wehrlein got his 5th career FIA Formula E win, his first of 2024. Sebastian Buemi came home in 2nd. Nick Cassidy came home in 3rd. Maximilian Gunter was 4th, with Mitch Evans completing your top 5. Then we had Jean-Eric Verne in 6th, Jake Hughes is 7th, Stoffel Van Dorn 8th, Jake Dennis came home in 9th, and Norman Nato from France completes the top 10. Looking at the rest of the results, we only had 4 drivers did not finish the race. Robert Fringe, Antonio Felix da Costa, even though it has a 2-letter word in it, but we're still going to dismiss that. Lucas di Grassi, and poor Sergio Sette Camera, who did not even take the start after his car had mechanical problems on his way to the grid. So, Taylor, what's your thoughts about the Mexico City E-Prix?
Yeah, definitely, it was very interesting, that's for sure. Definitely some really good racing and stuff happened over there, and it definitely was good to see the Formula E cars back out on the track, and it's definitely going to be a lot of fun when we get back into the swing of things, that's for sure.
We also want to welcome Cody Smart, driver of the Fastenal Ford Mustang for RFK Racing. I don't know if Cody's muted or not. Unless he has to go smack his Discord, then we'll just go with that. Taylor, let's go ahead and give your ranking from 1 to 10. If you had to rate this race from 1 to 10, with 1 being an absolute nightmare, get rid of this track, to 10 being an absolute stunker, what would you rate this race?
I will say an 8.
I would give it an 8 as well, because, it was a very interesting race. Yeah, only 3 lead changes. I wish it could have had a lot more lead changes, but nevertheless, it was still good racing. It was a very entertaining race, and, really excited to see what's going to happen coming up for them. It's time for my favorite part of the show we like to discuss, the top story news. Since of course, like I said, the last 2 weeks I was solo, which now we're going to have our expert panel, Zachary Taylor and Cody Smart. We're still waiting to get Nathan Orman, unless my 3 friends ended up kidnapping him for whatever reason. All jokes aside, quit saying this page isn't responsive, you darping laptop. I'm going to throw you off a cliff if you don't stop being drunk. Anyway, headlines here on Triple P. Let's start off with... I don't think anybody posted this. Did anybody hear that Marco Andretti is going to be running a part-time schedule in the Truck Series, as well as 14 ARCA races? Yes. It was announced, I think it... Yeah, I think Taylor was shocked, and so was I. Let's see if I can find the report. I think it's from Mr. Bob Puckris.
Maybe him.
Yeah, I'm looking. Who cares about Race Hub? I'm looking.
You didn't realize Race Hub's on later today.
Well, by the time this episode comes out, I should say.
Oh, good job, Danny. You have to compete with Race Hub.
I was wondering when we were going to have the first rage of this show.
Not too much, though.
Well, at least Cody knows that we're not doing any triggerness that would get somebody upset and offended.
Yeah,
Anyway, okay, here it is. This was from Racer.com. Stupid ad. Marco Andretti will run a mix of ARCA Menard Series and Craftsman Truck Series races this season with Cook Racing Technology. Who had that on their bingo card list? Not me.
Marco Andretti did indeed talk about putting his time into NASCAR. We clearly do not know what it was. We thought he was going to go on with potentially Spire Motorsports, but Spire's doing their own thing now. So Michael Andretti's going to do his own thing. And unfortunately for him, it was the driver route. And the reason why I say unfortunate is because take a look at his overall performance in NASCAR, excluding road courses. Can I put a Jeff over here, please? No.
You can put it in the president's chat if you want to.
Hey, Stephanie, where's the Jeff? AKA, that's a version for another channel I like to refer to. One channel we call him Seamus, another channel we call him Dennis. Oh, I gotta say, Stephanie!
Alrighty, there we go.
Cook Racing Technologies will be in alliance with Roper Racing with the former IndyCar regular and SRX champion, which he'll run 7 Truck Series races, the first being at COTA on March 23rd. Which we're happy for him. Kaz Gralla is going to be racing part-time in the Cup Series for 25 races. Like I said, I don't know if he's doing any Xfinity racing full-time or not, but Taylor, I think you and I were kind of surprised that Rick Ware Racing signed Kaz Gralla, because you look at his interesting statistics. You know, he replaced Austin Dillon at the Daytona Road Course in 2020 when Austin Dillon tested positive for COVID. He got the money team into the Daytona 500 in 2022, the first year we had the next-gen car. So, are you really surprised that Rick Ware Racing signed a great driver in Kaz Gralla?
Well, definitely. I mean, I will say, I think Rick Ware is going to get a really good driver behind the wheel of Kaz Gralla. I mean, you look at what he did with Sam Hunt and Xfinity last year, and even running that Cup race, driving Austin Dillon's car in the lead, did a really good job. And the funny thing is I do believe about that race that Gralla filled in for Dillon. I do believe he had to make a pit stop with about 10 laps to go and went flying back up through the field and got a top 10 out of it. So,
and that was with no practice at the Daytona Road Course, which is something that's kind of rare. And of course, like I said, you know, he had to start at the back because, well, it was a driver change.
Yeah, but who knows? Rick Ware, I think, has had a really good offseason getting Justin Haley and Al Gralla. This is going to be really interesting to see how Rick Ware does this year.
Here's the problem for Kaz Gralla, though. First of all, you take a look at his stats in Xfinity. Road courses, yeah, they were pretty good, but here's the thing, and I'm going to see if I can pull up the 2023 standings for Xfinity. Let's see if I can. Let's see. All right, thank you, Stephanie. Kaz Gralla finished 17th. All right, no offense, but if we were looking for drivers that were A, experienced, and B, well, you can purchase from Xfinity, there were a couple better options than Kaz Gralla. I'm going to say that right now. You could have picked, let's say, Parker Kligerman, especially in the position he was last season for free agency. Parker Kligerman, a great road runner, well, road course racer, I mean. Overall, he started to improve a little bit with equipment that wasn't so that great. Unlike Kaz Gralla, who ran equipment which was basically the B team for Joe Gibbs Racing. Guess where he ended up? Not anywhere close to the playoffs. I mean, no offense to Kaz Gralla, he's a great road racer, but if I was Rick Ware Racing, I would have signed a driver who was probably no longer eligible for Rookie of the Year this year if they would have signed him, unlike Kaz Grala, who is throwing his chances of winning Rookie of the Year by running only 25 races. I sure do hope he finds those other 11 elsewhere. I do hope so. But I want to sign Parker Kligerman, not Kaz Grala. I'm sorry, Kaz Grala. You probably should have been more consistent in Xfinity last season.
Well, I think
But
the whole thing is that I think the 15 is probably going to be like an all-star entry. You know, they could be filled out, you know, with probably Ryan Newman, with other drivers that were in the 51 from last year to this year. They can put in the 15. That's just my guess, but you know, a couple of people, you know, we don't know what the future is. You know, we don't know what Cody Ware is doing. Of course, Cody Ware hasn't announced any plans ever since he was reinstated by NASCAR after he got suspended indefinitely for some controversy involving his girlfriend and all that. So we don't know what his plans will be. You know, I don't know what Ryan Newman's doing this year. I would probably think he's going to probably focus more on his daughter doing racing. That would be my guess, and which is understandable. And then I don't know who's going to fill the other 11 races when Grala's not in the car. But like I said, you know, it's a very interesting situation because, you know, Rick Ware Racing is now going to get some support from, like, I think it's Team Penske and not RFK Racing. So it seems to me like they are going to get a lot better in the process. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens in the whole deal with Rick Ware Racing. Excuse me, I just bounced a little bit.
Yeah. Speaking of which, to clarify a couple of things, yep, we're going to have more of a rivalry between Brad Keselowski and Roger Penske over there. They becoming from a great relationship to the worst rivals in the entire NASCAR community. I mean, let's think about it real quick for context. Brad Keselowski wanted an ownership stake at Team Penske, but there was easy ways for Brad to get let go from Penske because of family. Yep, let's get that one right again. Family. Thanks a lot, Cendric. So as a result, Keselowski left the team, but he finally got an amazing opportunity at Roush. So that was basically the strike one. I feel like stealing the alliance from RFK Racing is basically strike two. So my question is going to be, what's going to be strike three that Penske's going to do to screw over Brad or his team? That's going to be the thing. Because here's where I see being a potential problem. Penske, if you take a look at their overall performance lately, over this last season, they went from the team that can regularly contend for titles to basically being a B team. Now, I don't know if this is Penske's desperation to be like the top team out of Ford organization again. I don't think somehow managed to win a championship, but honestly, it was more out of luck than consistency. I'll just say that. A bit more out of luck than consistency. I mean, Ryan Blaney improved. Okay, I'm not going to go specify on the drivers on this topic here, but I'm just saying, Penske, they regressed despite winning the championship again by just about pure luck rather than how they won it in 2022. So my final take on it is Penske's just being big time desperate with their alliances, and they made a desperate move that could likely backfire at the end of the season.
Well, I mean, you think about this, you know, about the whole Penske deal is that we all thought, you know, oh, Ryan Blaney is going to be a first round exit last year. I mean, we didn't expect Ryan Blaney to win the championship and then defending champion Joey Logano getting eliminated in the round of 16, which I think the three of us can agree that we didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also did not expect Austin Cindric. Well, I somewhat expected for him to have a sophomore slump, but he truly had a sophomore slump. Good freaking Lord. I mean, if I get the stats from Stephanie again over here, let's see. Cindric finished 24th in the point.
Yeah, and that's actually something we're going to talk about is who's on the hot seat, which we're going to discuss that later in the show. On to the next topic. While we're waiting for Ormy to get rescued by Courtney and Lynn and all that, let's talk about this interesting discussion about AlphaTauri, who ended up leaking their name to like Racing Bulls. Thoughts on that? I'll start with Taylor. Thoughts on that? Because that sounds a bit interesting, if you ask me.
Yeah, that does. Kind of sounds like AlphaTauri trying to steal part of Red Bull's name over there. That's kind of what it sounds like. That is an interesting move there by AlphaTauri over there.
Okay, Cody Smart, what do you think about this whole situation with AlphaTauri changing their name for like the third time? Or correction, it's the fourth time.
I think there was a previous team that did have their salary team named after Red Bull or after Honda Red Bull or whatever it is now. It was different from Racing Bulls. It was a bit different.
Yeah, because here's the whole list right here for like all of the for this team. First it was Toro Rosso, then it was I can't even speak Italian. I'm sorry, Italy people, if you can take it out on me. Scuderia Toro Rosso. There we go. Had a mouth tongue. Then it became AlphaTauri, and now it's possibly going to change to like Racing Bulls, which would be like the fourth name that team has changed so far, and it's in a good team name that's really good for yourself going forward.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I mean, thank you for helping me with the original name, because it kind of reminds me with that. It really does. And it makes me have a bit of a tell that it could be a bit of a morale boost over here for what's called Racing Bulls, unlike the other proposal I've heard a few days ago. And I was thinking, like, what the heck? You gotta call it freaking AlphaTauri, thank you very much. But now Racing Bulls, I get that. I absolutely get that. Like, okay, for context on this one, the other day we were just this random VC with Danny, and Danny had his predictions for a Constructors Championship. Apparently there's a lot of people who ran into, but he's like, oh, we got to go back on Ferrari. So that's basically how we went there.
Yeah. Which we, by the way, did that off air for anyone asking.
Yeah, let's just say you probably do not want to hear him, because not gonna lie, watch Danny get 4 out of 10 out of those.
Yeah, even though it was my preseason predictions, but oh well. So, yeah. I saw a lot of paint schemes, you know, Kyle Busch getting Zone as a sponsor, which I heard 3CHI, the sponsor for Kyle Busch last year, may come back, may not come back. We don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. What do you guys think about the new sponsor for Zone? I mean, I mean, what you guys' thoughts about that?
Well, definitely very interesting there with that sponsor coming to Kyle Busch and RCR now. And as far as the 3G thing goes, they, from what I have heard, have completely left RCR. So, yeah, so whether 3G goes to a different team or not, I don't know. But,
well, they said they might come back, is what they said.
Yeah, so definitely be interesting to see what happens there. But Kyle Busch picking up another sponsor over there, very interesting. who knows? Maybe I'll get him a win this year driving the car.
Yeah, it would be nice because the funny thing is that here's the craziest part is that Kyle Busch and JGR could not get a replacement sponsor in 2022, and that left the question: is Kyle Busch going to be able to stay at JGR? And we found out Kyle Busch was going to be leaving JGR to go RCR, which was answered. I mean, you look at Kyle Busch. I mean, it's not going to be sponsorship issues for him now that he's with RCR. I mean, you got Cheddar's, which here's a interesting part. That's the company I work for about to be almost a year right now. Can you believe that nonsense? He had Lucas Oil. He's had what other sponsors has he had besides those? Let me look at the RCR website.
He had, didn't he have a Losco uniforms or whatever they are?
Alsco.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, we have Alsco mats at my work. Funny thing to tell you. He's had Lucas Oil. He's had Rebel Bourbon, who's joined the team. Netspan, which is no longer on the team. Levino. Just to name a few, and they also added Global Industries, which is now going to also sponsor Austin Hill in the Xfinity Series, which is a nice addition for RCR, if you ask me. McLaren Grills is not back. I would like to see it come back, but oh well, it is what it is. But you think about all of this, like I said, it's not a sponsorship issue for Kyle Busch, because now he's got a lot of races and a lot of sponsors that's with him and all that. And of course, he's going to lose Rowdy Energy in about, what is this? This is the 19th of January as we're recording this portion of our broadcast, which is coming out on the 24th. So in about 7 days' time, by the time you're watching this on YouTube, Rowdy Energy down, and now the other question is, are we going to see like NOS Energy or Monster Energy possibly reunited with Kyle Busch? I mean, I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting if NOS came back to rally the car, but definitely I will say it is kind of sad to see Rowdy Energy shut down, and obviously Kyle Busch loses the sponsorship too, since he had his energy drink sponsoring him. But definitely kind of sad to see Rowdy Energy go.
But it's going to really feel weird if we end up seeing NOS Energy not at Joe Gibbs Racing. That's kind of a bit surprising. And talking about sponsorships, we talked. Of course, I talked about this last week. If you didn't watch last week's episode of Triple P, spoiler alert, click the link up in the top right-hand corner because I went over this last week when I talked about Stewart Haas Racing lost a lot of sponsorships. Gear Wrench that was on SHR on the Ford last season has now moved over to Legacy Motor Club and is going to be, I think, sponsoring Eric Jones, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look.
I don't know on that. I don't think I saw who they were sponsoring.
Let me see. I'm actually looking it up. Yep. They are going to be sponsoring they don't know who they're going to sponsor. I know they're going to be an associate sponsor, but it looks like possibly both drivers, both Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek. I mean, here's the thing, they just recently stole Advent Health after that sponsorship left Trackhouse. It's also, Family Dollar, Dollar General are also going to sponsor Legacy Motor Club, for the 42, 43, 84 teams. Of course, the 84 is a non-charter in that. But it's really interesting to see some sponsorships, and and I said this last week. It's going to feel weird, and I think Taylor and Cody will agree with me on this. Is that it's really weird seeing a sponsor like Hunt Brothers Pizza going to Joey Logano, and because Hunt Brothers Pizza has been with Kevin Harvick for most of his career until he announced his retirement from the 4 car. So that kind of surprises us that it's now with Penske Racing.
Yeah, that definitely was a little bit of a surprise in moving to Penske and going over there to sponsor them. That was definitely a little bit of a surprise.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, let's see here. What do we got for other news? Anything else that has come out that I should be aware of, boys? Let's see. Oh yeah. I saw something. Oh. Let's see. Here's what Adam Stern said. The RCR deal with Zone, now that we're talking about this, is the biggest play yet in agreement with ITG brands that has quietly dated back to at least to 2019 when ITG used its Blue Vape brand, but also continued its recent seasons with pass-throughs through Sheetz, Casey's General Stores, and Quick Trip. Is what they just said just now. Let's see here.
There's some breaking news report from Joseph Strigley, which I think half of us remember Joseph Strigley from a long time ago. But
Oh, crap.
Breaking news from Joseph Strigley. Brett Holmes will return to his own team, Brett Holmes Racing, in 2024, driving a number 32 Chevrolet Silverado. Mike Shiplet has been hired as the crew chief of the number 32 Chevrolet, which will have a technical alliance with Spire Motorsports.
I just realized Spire Motorsports is going to have 2 affiliations. One with now the 32, as you just mentioned, and the other one with Rev Racing and Nick Sanchez. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, and varying on where this goes, I'm going to say this, possibly it could be a good move for Brett Holmes, because here's the thing. The team of Rev Racing could have had a very good chance of becoming a 2-truck team, and they could have easily signed one of their ARCA drivers to be promoted to the truck series due to how good the both of them are. More than likely, it would have been a part-time truck for Andres Perez. I'm not going with the full name, but for Andres Perez. Because here's the thing. I've seen how Nick Sanchez ran before his first full-time truck season. And Andre Perez ran a very similar but slightly slower season. That would have been good enough for at least a part-time ride for Andres Perez. Because from what I've heard, I think he's not 18 yet.
Actually, let me look that up since you just mentioned this. Andre
Perez de Lara is the full name. I only say Andre Perez for reasons. Yeah.
Well, actually, his name has an E and not an A, so you can still get away with that.
Hey.
Hey, Cody, you can get away with that name because thank goodness that one has an E and not an A. Otherwise, you would have been on the board. And the funny part is, I would have had that recorded. So, to answer your question in all seriousness, first off, let me move you out and move you out. If you don't stop being a derping hyena, there we go. Andreas Perez de Lara is actually 18 years old because he didn't run the Daytona races. He ran the rest of the ARCA season because he was not 18, so he couldn't run Daytona. So this will actually be his first ARCA race at Daytona because, well, he didn't run this race last year due to the fact he didn't turn 18 until April the 2nd.
Yeah, that's a bit surprising. I mean, let's think about it here. That guy, I feel like, should be in a truck ride this season.
Here's the funny part is that... Here's the funny part, Cody. Despite him missing a race, he ended up finishing second in points, believe it or not. Who knows what would have happened if he would have raced Daytona?
Yeah, not only he probably could have gotten suspended for the next race, but even if he wouldn't have, he would have been in close contention with Jesse Love, and Jesse Love would have choked harder than he did, actually, in the ARCA series. Yes, let's not put it out of context, please. I swear. If you do, I'm throwing you off a mountain, and so will Danny.
Well, it says he finished 40th, but he didn't start the race because, well, he didn't turn 18, as I said. But even if you exclude Daytona, he still had a very good season. I mean, this is what he had, and this is the main ARCA series. 4th at Phoenix, 4th at Talladega, 6th at Kansas, 7th at Charlotte, 4th at... I'm trying to think what this track is. Berlin, thank you. Elko, 5th. Mid-Ohio 15th, Iowa 6th, Pocono 3rd, Michigan 17th, IRP 8th, 12th at the Glen, what's ISF? Oh, Springfield. Did okay at Milwaukee, did okay at DuQuoin. Not Dushcoin, whoever said that, which... I'm not going to say that person's name. But anyway, 17th at Kansas, 3rd at Bristol. Salem finished 2nd, 4th at Toledo. So he really had a good season if you just exclude the Daytona results. So.
Yeah, so honestly, I would say sign him a truck ride. Red Racing decided, for whatever reason, to not go for the gamble and not take advantage of the closing down of Kyle Busch Motorsports, and they didn't negotiate quick in time to place Nick Sanchez into the main organization to put Andres Perez over in the truck. Looking at a two-truck team easily with Raja Kalous and Andres Perez, or possibly LeVar Scott, because LeVar Scott was okay. I would say just one more season in ARCA. But back to the Brett Holmes story. If Red Racing would have come up with the plan to open up a two-truck team and sign Andres Perez as their second driver, that would have screwed Brett Holmes big time. Alright? Now we're looking at, let's see. I think it's a two-truck team for Spire, if I'm correct. 2 or 3?
Are you talking about this year for Spire?
Yep, this year.
Well, they're going to still have, who drove the 4? Oh, Chase Purdy. Thank you, producer. They still have Chase Purdy. The second truck is still going to be an all-star entry. We know Kyle Busch is going to run 5 races, but who else is going to share that ride with Kyle Busch is TBD. Is what I know. The only thing that they've already confirmed. So, I think, and to your point, I think Andres Perez Delaria, I think, could possibly race for Spire in the Truck Series. But he'll still get Truck Series points, even though he is an ARCA driver. So, because he'll still get declared points for trucks. So, it would make sense for him to run majority of the schedule, even though he's not going to be playoff eligible, but the truck can.
Yeah, I see that. And not only that, Danny, I was thinking this would benefit Brett Holmes. Because usually the more trucks you try to be aligned with, the more problematic it's going to be for the team that's below of the Alliance Patriarchy. Which in that case would have been Brett Holmes' team. Now they don't have a second truck. And now you're in the case where you're literally Spire's 4th truck. That can be helpful because he did not finish very well in points in the Truck Series this past season. I mean, I'll go take a look at where he finished in points, Brett Holmes. I'm pretty sure he did.
I mean, despite him running a part-time schedule, he had a good season, nevertheless.
Yeah, I mean, he ran 21 to 23 of the races, and he finished 23rd in points.
Which is not too bad for him, considering, you know, he missed the last few races due to funding and all that. So, you know, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, like, if he wouldn't have missed the last two races, yes, he still would have finished outside the top 20 in the points, and we would have considered him as a mediocre driver in the Truck Series, if not even worse, because we consider Haley Deegan as a mediocre driver, if not big. Thanks a lot, my generation. I mean, Brett Holmes, he showed his talent in ARCA, and that's where he primed in his NASCAR career, is ARCA. So I kind of hope that with this opportunity with Spire, he can climb up in the points. Now, I'm pretty confident that he would not make the playoffs in this type of scenario, but given how crazy the changes have been, with the majority of the teams in the Truck Series, it wouldn't shock me if Brett Holmes had a consistent top 15 season. I mean, next Sanchez made the playoffs and almost made the championship 4. I bet with Spire and Westwood, they would treat Rev Racing as like the third truck. How about have a 4-truck team pretty much and have Brett Holmes possibly making the playoffs next season? You know what? Screw it. All prediction time. Jack has a legacy like GMS Racing, but slightly better. Up their trucks into the owner's playoffs.
Oh my word.
That is right. That is right. Nick Sanchez, you're a championship contender. Chase Purdy, I mean, I feel like he can make the playoffs. I really do. But the big surprise is going to be Brett freaking Holmes. Back to his prime, Denny.
I want to make sure to get this in. We also want to welcome Nathan Orman, driver of the Exalta Chevrolet for Nathan Orman Motorsports / Hendrick Motorsports. I want to get that in before Cody continued.
AKA the driver who loves to say the R word.
We're not even going to start that, okay? But I think you know, the whole situation is that, you know, if Brett Holmes makes it in the top 20 in points, I'd be very impressed on that. Back to the Brett Holmes deal, because, you know, he could have won Talladega, but of course you all know NASCAR used the St. Louis Deadbird strategy and all that, all jokes aside. And I don't know how that's going to play a factor, you know, I mean, who knows what he could have done at Homestead in Phoenix, but, you know, to your point, you know, it's going to be interesting. Can they build off that into their second full year in the Truck Series? We're just going to have to wait and see about that.
I agree. With that support from Spire, and like I said, Rev Racing not extending to a 2-truck team might have shot them in the foot a little bit. But with Brett Holmes, I mean, like I said, I know he climbed in ARCA, but I do think that there is a chance that we're going to see a surprise driver enter the truck class this year, and it could potentially be Brett Holmes thanks to support from Spire, because what could happen is Brett Holmes could either win Daytona, or he shocks the hell out of all of us and battles Matt Crafton and start freezing all the truck oldies of the 2000s and 2010s, being like, hello, here comes a new generation. I'm the late bloomer, but I'm going to show it I'm the contender in the Truck Series. And about time he does it, too.
Yeah. I want to get this little news article that just came out 5 hours ago while you were doing your little fun story, Cody. Jeremy Clements just announced that First Pacific funding will be returning to the number 51 Clements Racing Team in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2024, which he has 2 different colors, which I'm going to post them both in the President's chat. And, Blue Junior's home from school, which is, yeah, I bet Blue Junior just went to his room, probably go get hugged by our 3 friends. But there's the, paint schemes in the President's chat with Jeremy Clements Racing. Trade-in Lapsevich is supposed to be having a little announcement regarding about 2024, so which I'm really excited about that. Hey Taylor, did you heard about Michael McDowell's new sponsorship? Is Taylor muted or is he getting hugged by his drivers?
He's totally getting whipped by Sean Hart for mentioning the...
Ah! I didn't say it, Sean. That was Cody who said it. Margarita at Sea will be sponsoring Michael McDowell in the LA Coliseum race that will be coming up next weekend, even though we're not going to be talking about the Clash next week. We're actually going to be talking about, which we'll get to that in the this week's upcoming events on this channel, so yay. So nice to see Margarita at Sea sponsoring the number 34 team in 2024. Of course, we saw Chase Elliott's baby blue Napa car for the Clash only. United Rentals is back with SHR. That does not surprise a lot of people. Let's see here. There has been rumors. This was from yesterday. There's been some rumors that Team Hendrick could be aligned to have David Gravel. Let me know what you guys think in the chat here, and let me know what y'all think in the comments section. Hopefully, you guys are not doing anything illegal in the comments.
Yeah,
as of this.
not doing it.
Because if you do, you'll get a $100 fine administrative assessment. Yes. Of course, David Gravel last competed in the Truck Series during the pandemic year 2020 for, what was it, GMS Racing? I think so, right?
Yeah, I thought of David Gravel racing and after that was mostly Altoona and Knoxville, if I was correct.
Yeah. It was kind of a shame that he started racing in NASCAR during the pandemic, which was a bit of a shame because if the pandemic never would have happened, you know, he could have been possibly racing full time in trucks, maybe run a part time schedule in the Xfinity Series, but we'll never know.
Yeah,
If
he
that.
ran 2 races in 2020 for TMS.
Yeah, I know one of them was Michigan. I don't know what other race he ran.
The other race was Kansas.
Okay, so he's run Kansas and Michigan, so, you know, he's still going to be eligible for if he does get a full-time ride, which I wouldn't be surprised about that. But, really, I think that's going to be something we'll keep an eye on. Of course, we talked about Ream returning to Christopher Bell for 2024. I want you guys' opinion on this. I'll start with Ormy, then Taylor, then Cody. Unless Taylor's still muted, it'll be Taylor. Taylor will go last. It will go Ormy, Cody, Taylor. AM Racing announced that they will not be fielding the 25 team full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2024. However, we do not even know if it will be Brett Moffitt driving the number 25 machine for that. The AM Racing team has decided to put their owner points, the 25's owner points of Brett Moffitt from last season, over to Hailie Deegan, because we talked about this off air when we do our little Triple P meetings before we do our portion of the broadcast, that AM Racing was worried about Hailie Deegan having to qualify on time because the 15 car that she's driving for in 2024 didn't have any owner points to fall back on. So with the decision of AM Racing having the 25 owner points going to the 15, and I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Taylor, does that mean, do you think that's a good decision by AM Racing to have a part-time 25 team and moving the owner points to the 15 this year? I'll start with Taylor.
Definitely, I think doing that is going to help Deegan out if she needs was a smart move for them to move the owners' points over there to their full-time entry and help Haley Deegan out if they needed to. Use owner points for any reasons, and definitely I think that was probably a good smart move by them.
Cody? What do you think? Yeah, they were 17th in owner points last year. AM Racing's 25. So Haley Deegan will be safe as far as that's concerned. Go ahead, Cody.
That's a good thing, but no offense to them. But I really wish they would have had two cars all the time because there was some owner points they probably could have been able to buy out. And that could have been from Ryan Sieg's team. I mean, I don't know why they had Joe Graff Jr. over there for their team full time when they could have easily had both Sieg siblings.
Well,
let's be honest.
well, Joe Graff has been like getting like 3 different rides to run the full season. Is probably what I think.
It makes sense, but at the same time, I mean, unless you're intending on Joe Graff Jr. in the full season, why even have the honors points? And ironically enough, they had 4 cars that ran last season, including 1 car that actually won last season with Allegiant Erica Marola. So, frankly speaking, what they could have done was this. They could have sold the owner's points of the 38 and give it over to the 25, and then they can use the owner's points from the 28 for the 38. And to be fair, it would be the first 3 races anyway, so it's not like it'd be a major pain for them unless weather wants to say otherwise. So, frankly speaking, having AM Racing let go of Brett Moffitt is a bit questionable if they do. And honestly, with no real plans coming from any of the oldies in the truck series, which may include Stuart Friesen, my main concern is they're going to start falling off the face of the earth. So why not have some of your last years get a pretty decent ride in a higher series so you just don't be what people would insult you with as washed? I mean, I know you already got a team set up for Helmer Friesen Racing. I get that. But it'd be great if you were to align with AM Racing and, you know, get some races in. Xfinity, if not attempt the full season.
Well, the problem is that Helmar Friesen Racing is like a Toyota team, so they would end up probably going to have to align with, like, let's say, a Toyota team if they were to do an Xfinity season.
Yeah, I mean, I get that too, but like I said, with driver owners falling when they're very old, Stuart Friesen, I think, is starting to see that happen to him. And he's not the only one. But specifically for the topic in hand, I mean, with the whole AM Racing ordeal, I kind of got why Austin got done with driving, because something else that could have happened is Austin Wayne South can return to racing. I mean, pretty much be the semi-retired driver that he is and just run a full season in the 25, and he can be a driver owner like many driver owners do. And the worst case scenario, Austin Wayne South can just D&Q a couple races, even if that means saving Haley Deegan for the full season. I mean, if you're thinking logical here, Austin Wayne South did okay the truck series when he was in trucks. I don't think he never made the playoffs in trucks, but he still had decent seasons. He still had, I think, consistent top 15, top 20.
Okay. What about you, Ormy?
I agree with what everyone says. I think that was a smart decision on AM Racing to have Haley Deegan make the show. And yeah, I'm so happy for Haley Deegan making her first start of her Xfinity career at the rookie campaign at Daytona.
Daytona, and he doesn't have to worry about qualifying to weigh in and making the sale due to the owner points from the 25. So, yeah, so happy for him.
Makes sense if you ask me, because now that means that team, if they have a problem in qualifying, they're thankful that the owner points is going to save them, rather than, in the words of NASCAR, load up and go home. So, yes. Talking about the Xfinity Series, what multiple sources are saying, there's like a chance we can end up having 45 or 50 entries for Daytona. I heard Truck Series could be more than that, and it seems like to me the Cup Series is going to be the smallest entry list of the three going to Daytona. Does that concern you guys a bit, or do you think, oh, it's just typical Daytona and blah, 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 blah with the next gen?
Well, I mean, definitely, it's interesting to see some teams and stuff, especially some of the newer NASCAR teams going in trucks and Xfinity, which I think is probably a smart move, especially for some of these newer teams. But also, you know, if teams were to go to start a Cup team and have a Cup entry, what I've seen some people saying is that they're doing that because trucks and Xfinity is cheaper, and plus they don't have to worry about buying a charter in Cup to lock themselves in to the race as well. So that, I think, is probably why we're seeing some of that. But definitely, who knows, maybe we'll see the Cup field get back up to 40, 43 cars again at some point.
Oh, definitely, as far as that's concerned. A couple of promotional announcements need to pass along. Want to discuss about the Rolex 24 Daytona. Join Zachary Taylor, Nathan Norman, myself on Wednesday night on Tuesday night rather, for the IMSA podcast, as we will recap the Rolex 24 Daytona, get our opinions about our great racing, and preview the 12 Hours of Sebring coming up in March. And then this other promotional announcement will be the Movie Express. We'll be recapping all the movies and all that, which will be coming up Friday at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Late night Friday, I should say. So, looking forward to that. If you have a question to ask the Triple B panelists and ourselves, you can type it in the Twitch chat or tag me at Putnam City 2013. Use the hashtag Triple P, all in one word, capital T for the word triple, and then P in capitalization, and then we will answer your question as far as that is concerned. So let's see. So a couple of stats I want to point out as far as what I just found for the average running position amongst teammates here. And this is going to kind of surprise you. If you guys want to jump on in, you can. Rick Ware Racing 1.192, RFK 3.186, Colleague 3.248. This is, by the way, for the Cup Series, if you're asking. Spire 3.564, 3.756 for 2311 Racing. Legacy Motor Club 3.839, Trackhouse 4.182, Front Row Motorsports 4.183, RCR 4.309, JGR 5.003, 5.235 for SHR, 5.808 for Hendrick and Penske, 6.122. That's interesting right there. And just breaking news, Eric Johnson Jr. will compete full-time in the ARCA Menards West for BMR NASCAR driving the 19 Pacific Office Automation Chevy SS, which we're very happy for them. I wish him good luck in the West Series, so yay. Let's see here. Rudolph Busch is sponsoring Front Row Motorsports' 38 for Todd Gilliland, and that's pretty good news there as far as that is concerned. Let's talk about, we were just talking about, the Hailie Deegan and all that, which brings us to are who's going to be on the hot seat part before we preview Saudi Arabia for this race weekend. So let's start with the Truck Series. Let's go Zachary Taylor, Cody Smart, Nathan Orman, and myself as far as this is concerned. Out of the drivers that we know will be racing full time, I know Stuart Friesen will race full time in the Truck Series as usual. Who do you think is on the hot seat as far as if they don't perform well, they're gone? Taylor, I'm going to start with you.
Let's see. Let's see here. Well, I would probably have to go with maybe Jack Wood here.
Wood. He said Wood. Jack Wood. He said Wood. I was wondering which one of you was going to say the word Jack Wood. Okay. In all seriousness, Taylor, why Jack Wood?
Last year you look at it, he finished 26th in points. I think he ran part-time last year, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But if he does wind up in a full-time ride for next season, it'll be interesting to see if he can improve and potentially continue giving himself an opportunity to stay in a full-time ride for the future, maybe. It'd be interesting to see what happens there.
Just so you know, I'm not a good mocker of Rowdy when he did that. Hey, Beavis, but he said Wood. All right, Cody Smart, who do you think is on the hot seat as far as the Truck Series is concerned?
There's a couple drivers that I may throw into consideration. Either a young driver or an older driver. According to my concern, I'm going to throw an older driver on the hot seat. Honestly, he probably should have retired at the end of the season after the incident that happened out of
Cody has had more derps in this episode than we've had Elbow and Kermit giving Blue Jr. a hug after he had an awful day at school, which I will discuss that off the stream. But go on, Cody.
Let's try that again before somebody uses the St. Louis Pittsburgh strategy again. Let's see. I'm highlighting the incident at Talladega last fall. And frankly, I think I said it to a few other people. But after that incident at Talladega, I think he should retire. And to be honest, I am going to stay consistent on that statement. Give me Matt Crafton on the hot seat. Give me Matt Crafton. Here's why. Honestly, his performance over the last couple of years has been dwindling. Bit by bit. And after that incident at Talladega with Nick Sanchez, I basically joined the train of seeing Matt Crafton leaving the Truck Series. And frankly, I think it's about time for Matt Crafton to retire. So I'll say this. If Crafton doesn't improve, or I'm going to set an even higher expectation than that, if he doesn't become a championship contender this season, I'd say tell him to hang up the helmet. I think it's time to see him retire. He did that with Johnny Sauter. I will not be surprised if the same thing happens to Crafton at the same team, may I add.
Okay, for me, let me look at let me pull up JC for myself for the Truck Series. Honestly, for me, when I was thinking, who do I think is going to be on the hot seat. It's basically who I think is going to be needing some better performances at all. By the way, I'm not going to say the driver of the 33 truck because he has the dumbest name in racing. I'm just going to say that out of the way. You know where I was going there. But in all seriousness, I'm going to probably say Ty Majeski is on the hot seat because you look at, ThorSport, Ben Rhodes is the defending Truck Series champion. If Ty Majeski does not have a breakout season, if not make the Final Four, I could see him getting replaced really quickly. Ormy, what about you?
If there's a driver that's going to be in the hot seat in the Truck Series, there's a lot of good drivers, honestly. And if I have to choose one, in the Truck Series, it's a tough decision. Very tough. But sadly, if there's one, I'm gonna say, Tyler Ankrum.
Ooh, I was thinking of it. I didn't realize nobody picked Ankrum until just now.
Yeah, because,
Interesting.
Because the past couple of years for Tyler Ankrum he was not the best years of his career. Yeah, he made the playoffs once, but and then his career started going downhill from there on.
Yeah, and he also won the ARCA race at Mid-Ohio last year after the whole Venturina Motorsports controversy that happened with Sean Hignorani and I don't know who else he made contact with. I think it was the entire team in general.
Yeah.
So.
Alright, so just to recap over here, Mr. Taylor says, for the love of Pete.
You know I'm going to do my mocking deal of that driver name you're thinking of.
Taylor picked Jared Wood. I mean, if he's supposed to
Wood.
ride, not surprising. I went with Matt Clafton, I went with the Auto end. Ormy decided to be with his teammate, Tom Majeski. Not Majeski, not Danny. Well, Ormy...
Good job, Cody. You just derped on the street. This is what happens when Cody knows he hasn't been on a show in 2 years. Okay. Carry on.
That's what happens when we have a new intern in the studio. Step it in!
The greatest Triple P clan is back. How awesome is that? Carry on, Cody. All right. What about Xfinity? Taylor, who do you think is on the hot seat for Xfinity?
Well, there's actually about 3 drivers I'm thinking of here. One being Jeffrey Earnhardt. The second I'm thinking of here is Joe Graff Jr. I mean, Joe Graff ran some races last year with Joe Gibbs Racing, and I mean, he did decent at times, but other times Graff just did not perform well in that Joe Gibbs Racing car that he drove part-time in Xfinity last year. And he kind of underperformed in that thing for the most part. But my other driver I'm thinking of here is Braylon Jones. I mean, he does get a lot of top 15 or so finishes a lot, but he is just inconsistent with winning races, and usually if he does make the playoffs, he's a first-round exit. And, even with JGR, he did not perform that well most of the time. So I think Brandon Jones, even though this will be his second year with Junior Motorsports, I think he could be on the hot seat.
Okay, Cody Smart. Unless he's muted.
Cody?
Oh, nope, Cody's unmuted. Oh, David had to give somebody an assessment. We'll get back to Cody in a. Oh, Cody's back.
I'm still hearing you, Derpinosh.
Well, we couldn't hear. We didn't know if you were unmuted, you derp.
Good grief. All right, let me take a look at. Good grief. We don't want to talk about you. He ain't ours. That's just fine. Good job, you know. Dang. All right. Now what we're talking about.
Who's on the hot seat for the Xfinity Series, Cody? That's what we're talking about.
I'm thinking about, should I be kind about this or should I be a jerk about this? What do you think?
You could be all of the above.
All right. Since Taylor stole one of my picks for that one,
I saw that one coming.
Taylor stole one of my picks, even though Taylor made 3 picks, so technically I probably should have thrown a flag for excessive picking.
That should be a random point, but go on.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I want to pick Brandon Jones, but Taylor stole that from me! So I'm going to be a bit of a jerk about this driver. Sheldon Creed.
Oh, boy.
Here's why I'm going to be a jerk about it. Sheldon Creed, when he's under the pressure, it seems like he knows how to drive well, and he means well, but he seems to be reckless to his teammates or to his authority, per se. All right? Well, we saw many examples of it last season, and we've seen it at Martinsville especially. So, if I'm talking about a driver who's on the hot seat, it's not necessarily about performance, okay? It's morally about being loyal to your team, keep a good temper, etc., etc. Sheldon Creed has been involved in multiple incidents that seem to kick his team owner off or his teammates, and it's just not giving him a good look. Even though this is his first year at Joe Gibbs Racing, where he is expected to win in something he failed at last year, even though he gave a good effort at it, and he blew it on multiple occasions, I will say mostly because of his temper and because of his team chemistry, which seemed to be lacking last year, I'm going to say put Sheldon Creed in the hot seat since Taylor stole my first pick. Thanks a lot, Taylor.
You know, there's one driver for me that I think you're going to be a little surprised about, who I think is going to be on the hot seat for Xfinity. You talked about Brandon Jones. I could kind of agree with Brandon Jones because, that's a Junior Motorsports equipment. He should be winning races, not having the season he had. I think personally for me, if I had to pick somebody who's on the hot seat, let's go Brandon Jones' teammate, Sam Mayer. I mean, yeah, he had a breakout year, but, you got to start doing a lot better at the start of the year if you wanted to build it to a championship run. So if Sam Mayer doesn't do that, I don't think Sam Mayer is going to be back with that team in 2025. So Sam Mayer, you got to prove me wrong as far as that is concerned. Who do you have as your hot driver on the hot seat, Ormy?
Oh my God.
Wow, we're an hour and 15 minutes in the show. We still haven't even gotten to predictions yet, which is awesome. Says we love having these long discussions. But go on, Ormy.
If he has a driver in the hot seat in the Xfinity Series, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with. Ryan Sieg.
Ooh, Ryan Sieg. Why Ryan Sieg?
Oh yeah, because he has been a cup being a championship contender for many years, but his team has been underperforming a lot recently, and these past years for Sieg has been heartbreaking for him. Hopefully he'll have one good season where he has a good season and possibly win a championship. If not, then we're going to say another wasted year for Ryan Sieg, and possibly he may be out of the ride if we have another.
I think you might be right, because he hasn't even won an Xfinity race. He came close a couple of times to get that elusive first win. But to your point, Orman, he definitely needs to start winning. Otherwise, he's going to be, what, in the words of Cody, a NASCAR bust.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, Ormy. In terms of where losing a ride is concerned, that's where I got to put the hard disagree on you. But in terms of where trying to turn his career around, I do agree. I mean, putting Ryan Sieg on the hot seat, not for losing his ride, but more specifically to save his career as a driver, that I agree with. That I agree with more than just losing a ride. And I mean, I feel like the whole definition of putting in a hot seat, I mean, to Danny's case, picking Sam Mayo, I mean, more like, instead of being on the hot seat for losing his ride at Junior Motorsports, I see it more on the hot seat of not being able to move up to the Cup Series with a good opportunity or with a good ride in the Cup Series next season. Because we all know how people love to recruit the younger people to the Cup Series. Yeah.
You know one driver who I thought I could have picked as far as the hot seat?
Josh Williams.
No.
That's just a wild guess.
I would love to see Josh Williams win a race. Wouldn't that be a shocker right there? In all fairness, if I had another driver who I could have picked and Cody would have said pick again, I'm going to say Chandler Smith. You know, I felt like Chandler Smith could have won a lot more races last year than just, what, one or two that he won. I think if he doesn't start winning right out of the bat, then that's not going to be good morale for him. Not taking that away from, you know, Joe Gibbs Racing, what they have accomplished. I think, you know, to me, and this is just my opinion about this, I think I would love for him to get a chance to have a chance to win races, because, you know, the 81 has not been in the Xfinity Series since 2021 with Ty Gibbs. Yeah, it was an all-star entry, oh well, but the thing is that this is the first time the 81 is a full-time entry as far as the Xfinity Series is concerned. So until you prove it on the track and in a good equipment like GGR, there is no way on earth he's going to impress me. He might need to prove me wrong this year to say, okay, I could win these races or I could win that races. So that's just who I think would have been my other driver. Now let's talk about who's...
Oh, my bad. I was about to say I'm going to First of all, it looks like Taylor went with Brandon Jones and stole my pick, so I was forced to pick Sheldon Creed. Danny went with Sam Mayer, and Orleans had to go with a shocker, Ryan Sieg. And backing up Danny's choice here, if I would have had a second option for hot seat, boy, this would have been hot seat for moving up the cup. I would have said Riley Herbst.
Yeah, I was thinking Riley Herbst. I mean, Riley Herbst has developed more. You know, the big question is, when is it time for him to go to Cup? I would probably think it would be now.
Yeah, it should be now. It definitely should be now. And speaking of Cup, you just open up the next topic, Danny.
Yeah, who's on the hot seat for Cup? And guess what, Cody? Since you got mad at Taylor, you get to go first. I saw that one coming 3 seconds away.
I thought about this one for a while. I really have. And frankly, I was not only slightly shocked, but also massively disappointed in how he did last year. And at the end of the season, we found out he basically got humiliated by one of his teammates who, no offense, Danny, should have been deemed playoff ineligible as soon as he got suspended last year for a race. Here's one point on the hot seat. Alex Bowman. Frankly, those were the top reasons. Now, Bowman, compared to his teammates, if you take a look at the last handful of years, there usually has been always two dominant Hendrick drivers. Usually. And the pattern and how that's happened would be like Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson. Chase Elliott and maybe a former teammate, if I can think of one. But usually it's been Chase Elliott or Kyle Larson, or Chase Elliott and William Byron. Last year it was Kyle Larson and William Byron. Never in the last 3 or 4 years, or any time while he was a Hendrick, according to my concern, I say was never a dominant driver in Hendrick Motorsport. And you have seen for multiple seasons, 3 out of 4 Hendrick drivers for multiple seasons, it doesn't matter how many seasons or what seasons they were, they had a dominant year, regardless of if they won a championship or not. Alex Bowman has never been in that position. And what did he do? He decided to have his worst season at Hendrick.
I'm
an insult to injury. He did worse than Chase Elliott.
Well, here's where I'm going to have to come in there and say, hold the brakes there. This was nothing that Alex Bowman could have done because, well, let's see. He and Chase Elliott both got injured from, off-season, from, off-track activities. So, are we really going to put 2 drivers who, I understand they had a bad season, but are we going to blame it on their injuries? I don't think so. I mean, if they didn't have those injuries, who knows what would have happened in that regard, as far as, what those 2 are concerned.
I'm going to ask, before Alex Bowman had his injury, was he even relatively close to making the playoffs?
If he didn't have the injury, who knows? He would have been close.
Yes, so here's my major concern. Yes, he had his injury and he missed 3 races. Maybe we need to hold the brakes on how intense it actually is wrong with Alex Bowman. Because, every other season, he did make the playoffs, if I'm correct, when he did race for Hendrick, besides last year. But he's usually one of the sneaky drivers in that said playoffs. So, frankly, like I said, if he just sneaks into the playoffs and gets eliminated after, let's say, round of 16 or round of 12, then I see a possibility of him getting let go. Even if he doesn't make the playoffs, I see him getting let go for possibly, say, a mayor. But if he makes it to round of 8, or he especially becomes, like I said, for the first time in his career, being a dominant driver at Hendrick Motorsports, I would say he would be out of that hot seat spot. So frankly, I want to open it up with sort of a surprise driver. If that's why I am going with Alex Bowman. If he doesn't become the dominant driver like the team culture is, he's done. No questions asked.
All right, Zachary Taylor, you're up.
Mm.
Who's on the hot seat in Cub? I think I got several I'm going to name out.
Well, I know Cody didn't pick him, but I know Cody talked about it. Austin Cindric. That is actually not my pick, though.
Well, Austin Cindric, if he doesn't do well this season, he's out of that ride. I mean, let's be honest. He's only won one Cup race, which is the Daytona 500. What has he done in the last 71 races?
Yeah,
I mean, pretty much absolutely nothing. And not gonna lie, he shouldn't have won that Daytona 500 in the first place because they gave my driver, you blew it, the first of 2 in a row, may I add.
But as far as my actual pick here for this goes, I don't know if y'all are going to say blood to this or not, but the driver I'm going to say that I would have on the hot seat is Austin Dillon. I mean,
I think I could kind of agree where you're coming from.
yeah, because, I mean, to be fair, the races that he's won have been pure luck, and due to fuel mileage and things like that. And what has he done besides that? I mean, if he makes the playoffs, he's eliminated first round pretty much.
Well, you know, in the pandemic year, he made it to the round of 12 before he got eliminated. But, you know, you bring up a point here. I just realized he has not done anything in the, the 72 races we've had with this Gen 7. He's not done anything.
Yeah.
He's had either wrecks or mechanical failures or whatever. And, you know, we're coming to race 73 with this car. So I kind of agree where you're coming from, Taylor. If Austin Dillon doesn't start improving, I think it's time for him to be out of that 3 car.
And to be fair, they should have dumped him a long time ago, to be fair.
But I know everybody's going to say, well, that's Grandpa will be safe. No, Grandpa needs to tell him if he doesn't start improving this year, he's going to be cut out of that 3 car. That's just my opinion, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Nathan Orman, who do you think's on the hot seat for Cup?
I gotta say, the driver who's in the hot seat is gonna be Chase Briscoe.
Ooh, that's another driver who I was thinking about. Why Chase Briscoe?
Because similar to Austin Cindric, he's been in the playoffs once, but he got possibly get, if he makes the playoffs, he's gonna be eliminated in the first round because ever since his win at Phoenix, he has done nothing for Stewart Haas Racing.
In fact, you know, he's the only one that's won in the for SHR. But to your point, he hasn't even done anything ever since the Phoenix win in 2022. In fact, I can say this: SHR as a whole hasn't done much ever since Chase Briscoe went to Victory Lane back in Phoenix. So I could kind of agree with you where you're coming from, Orman, because if they don't improve this year, there's going to be some serious questions asked what's going to be the future of SHR.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing, though, because the thing is, and, you know, to your point, is that Chase Briscoe has got to start stepping up to being a leader, because, you know, Kevin Harvick is going because he's now at Fox. Eric Almirola is going to be running part-time in the Xfinity Series. So he's going to have to start stepping up as a leader. Otherwise, it's going to be the same problem we had last year with them and them not making the playoffs. So, but to your point, I definitely agree with Chase Briscoe. There is one driver for me, though, and I know Taylor doesn't like this driver, and I know somebody's going to say, I can't believe you picked this driver, Voiles. But to be fair, and this is like I said with Austin Cindric, and I've said this with Chase Briscoe. Ever since their win that they got with this car, what have they done? I'm adding Bubba Wallace to that list. Ever since he won Kansas, in the 45 replacing Kurt Busch after Kurt Busch retired from his injuries. Let's see. Bubba Wallace has been suspended for a race for right rear hooking Kyle Larson at Las Vegas, which screwed Christopher Bell and forced Bell into a potential must-win at Martinsville, which he did win that race to make the Final Four. But what has Bubba done ever since he won after the Kansas Fall race, to be more specific? You know, I think it's time for Bubba to be on the hot seat. So if Bubba Wallace continues to have bad results and not good performances, then Denny Hamlin's going to have to say, okay, if you're not going to perform as I expected of you and you're not going to win races to make the playoffs, then I don't see you making it a championship, and we're going to end up replacing you right on the spot. So Bubba needs to prove us wrong to say, okay, I need to start turning my performances around. I need to start winning races. I need to be more consistent, and that's pretty much about it.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I didn't consider Bubba is because last year, Bubba Wallace absolutely improved when it comes to being a front runner. I mean, ever since he did have his win, Bubba did indeed be a big-time front runner.
But the thing is that he has to do a complete season. He can't do like, I'm just going to struggle the first part of the season and I'm just going to do great. No, you got to put a full season together. You can't put like half and half. It's like, why would you put half like peanut butter and half jelly on there? You got to put like a whole sandwich together.
Yeah. I mean, yes, he did make the playoffs, and yeah, he did get eliminated after round 12 as I expected. But at the same time, I mean, you're kind of right on that as well. I mean, alright, I know a lot of people are going to call me out because I thought Sheldon Creed was there who had a very similar situation.
Well, Sheldon Creed, I can understand why he did that. Which, by the way, we'll get to one of our preseason predictions next week before we discuss that.
The reason why in Xfinity is because of team chemistry and team loyalty. Bubba is really loyal with his crew, and basically 23XI had shared struggles with not only him, but also Tyler Reddick. So that is why I kind of consider Bubba Wallace a bit low on my list of drivers in the hot seat. And I know a lot of people are going to call me out because of their similar thing with Alex Bowman. With Bowman being injured. I mean, the reason is because, again, Hendrick Motorsports is a team where you have to expect to be a dominant driver at some point during your tenure. If you don't, you're probably going to be out of that ride. And Alex Bowman has never done that. Which makes me realize that what weighs more than just improving, being a truly dominant driver, which is something Alex Bowman has failed to do. So I'm putting him in the hot seat not because I don't think he's going to improve. I'm putting him in the hot seat because he has failed to be a dominant role in the team. And I'm going to back up what Danny said about Chase Briscoe being a team leader. Alex Bowman has never been a team leader at Hendrick Motorsports. I'll say that right now. He's never been a team leader at Hendrick Motorsports. And unlike Chase Briscoe, Alex Bowman, besides that injury, is running out of excuses, and he's running out of them very quickly.
All right. So now that we have done that, and we're already past an hour and a half, can you believe that? We've been live for over an hour and a half. That's pretty crazy. Let's preview Saudi Arabia, boys and girls. Ready to go for our double dip? So I'm leaving Mexico after only having 3 lead changes, and we're coming to Saudi Arabia. So the question for you guys is going into this doubleheader, which is, by the way, 1 point each for the doubleheader. So the most you could gain or lose in one weekend would be a good 6 points. What do you think we're going to see at Saudi Arabia this weekend, boys and girls? Taylor, I'll start with you.
Well, that's what I've been interesting to see how these drivers do in this race, and especially with the last race only having 3 lead changes. It'll be interesting to see if this race we see even more lead changes and even more competitive racing out there. And it'll be interesting to see what these drivers do to try to potentially give themselves an advantage, maybe strategy-wise or anything like that. It'll definitely be interesting to see what happens.
Oh, yeah, definitely, I would agree with that. Ormy?
Oh, yeah, I think what it needs to do is the strategy, like, how are you going to time your attack move perfectly, and how to use more boost to help you defend better from your rivals, and hopefully and we see a lot of great passes, a lot of great battles, and possibly how strategies going to be involved.
Oh, absolutely. What about you, Cody? Unless, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Well, I mean, I didn't watch the Formula E race at Mexico. I mean,
Yeah, the highlights are up on the YouTube channel, if you guys missed it.
Yeah, I mean, I do know what Mexico City looks like because I know F1 has raced there before. So, I mean, racing at another circuit that Formula One would usually race at, the Jeddah Street Circuit. I do think it's going to produce some good racing. I know that it has produced some okay racing in F1, but that's mostly because of how the car is designed. The cars that are designed in Formula E equip a lot better at Saudi Arabia. So I do expect a more entertaining weekend over there next weekend as a date of recording compared to Mexico this past weekend.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think we're in for a very interesting race in Saudi Arabia, knowing this is a double header, so, yeah. All right, boys and girls, let's get to our predictions. One thing I do need to mention, for those of you if you're watching this premiere on YouTube, I'm gonna go over the new NASCAR prediction format once we get into next week's show, when we'll have our usual friends Nathan Norman, Zachary Taylor, Cody Smart, and our awesome, adorable Mario friend Sean Art, which I will discuss that on next week's show. So here are the standings, even though Cody didn't put the standings out, but I'm just going to go off based off what he wrote for the tally. Of course, Cody Smart 2, nobody's surprise, is the points leader over a mega tie with 5 points. 5 points. They would be Zachary Taylor, Nathan Norman, Lauren Ekstrom, Rebecca Hawkins, Jocelyn Hawkins, Heather Galloway, and Prudence Martindale. 4-point people would be yours truly, Dylan Cunningham, Sylvia Cunningham, Annie Crenshaw, Betty Johnson, Margaret Jacobs, Luna Farmer, and Hadley Martindale. And then the people at the bottom of the basement that really, I think, need to pick it up would be Maisie Creighton, Aaron Hornish, Dalton Jacobs, Annie Thomas. Those are the 4 that are in the bottom of the standings. So, we're going to get their drivers' picks, or I will have them in the description of this video. So it'll just be the four of us that are predicting right now. So, Mr. Zachary Taylor, you get the pleasure of going first. Now remember, you're picking both races. That's the tricky part about this prediction for double headers is we're predicting both races. So whatever you predict for the first race, you're also picking it for the second race. Just want to throw that out there. And Cody will let us know who is too easy for stay away from, which I actually need to pull up my motorsports on my phone.
Okay.
Because I know who's too. Because I probably should know who's too easy and who's on the entry list. So, Mr. Taylor, you're gonna go first.
Okay, so looks like let me see here. Okay.
The following drivers that are not too easy would be Robert Frines, Antonio Felix Acosta, Lucas Lagrassi, Sergio Sette Camara. And how many drivers are we saying, like, how many bottom people are too easy, Cody?
Based on the fact that 4 of them either crashed out of race or didn't start, they were exempt from the rule, which means the only 2 drivers that would count for too easy after I did the math would be Dan Kickdom, and this is gonna be a surprise.
Nico Mueller.
Yeah, that's a big surprise. Oh, see.
I get to say my song. That is a bruh.
Alright, spot 6. Like, so.
Alright.
Yeah, the bumps are gonna be too easy.
Alright, Mr. Taylor, who's your driver to stay away from?
Let's see. I'm going to say my driver that I'm going to select for my stay away from. I'm going to say Norman Nato, or however you pronounce it.
Norman Nato, you said it right. And he finished in the top 10, so that means he is not too easy to everybody's surprise.
Yeah.
Which is a bruh moment.
How the heck did he finish in the top 10? Alright.
We're off to a wonderful start in predictions, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I think he was driving for the reigning Constructors Trophy winner as Andretti. But
What's next? He's going to run for IndyCar? Oh, God.
Oh, anyway.
Okay, who's your dark horse before we get off topic here?
Anyway, let's go to the dark horse.
The driver I think I will select for the dark horse, I am going to say Jake Dennis will be my dark horse.
That's a good pick.
Mm-hmm.
And your driver to win.
Driver to win the doubleheader at Saudi Arabia.
The chances of us getting our winner right for this doubleheader is slim to none. Just gonna throw that out there.
How about... Wait... I know who I should say.
Oh no, I have a feeling we're having a bro winner alert coming.
You probably are going to say bull to what I'm about to say. I am going to take Maximilian Gunther as my driver to win.
That is a bruh, that is a bruh, that is a big fat bruh, that's a bruh. Alright, Cody Smart, you're next. Remember, us 4 panelists will be making our picks. Off the air, we'll get the other drivers' picks. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, let's throw that out there. We don't need that whole thing again and don't need Stephanie Turpin over there either. So, yeah, good idea.
All right, Cody, who you got for Saudi Arabia? Holy cow, we're almost 2 hours in the show. Holy cow.
Usually, I don't make these picks until the week of, usually.
Even though this is the week of, on this, as of this recording you're seeing on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube. As of this recording, I usually don't make picks over a week ahead. Just to throw that out there. Okay. The driver that I think will have a shot to win, I don't know. There's a few drivers I like. And there's a few I don't like. But the driver that I think will be a legitimate contender to win, I think for the first time in over 5 years, we're going to have a consistent winner for one of our lives. Give me Pascal Wehrlein again.
Pascal Wehrlein.
Are you writing them down, or do you want me to write them down?
Yeah, go ahead and write them down, Danny. Gives me a headache as if I'm already having a headache to even start with.
After our fun little NASCAR discussion we had.
Good grief.
Hey, that was a lot of fun, because we haven't had panelists in a long time, so.
Yeah. Staying away from is going to get a bit interesting. I'm going to go ahead and check something very quickly. How did you people do at Saudi Arabia? That's all I want to know. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to say this. I took a look at the driver's statistics. First of all, I feel bad for what happened to this driver, but since he's exempt from being too easy, I'm probably going to go ahead and just pick him. He did not do very good at Saudi Arabia last season. He ended up getting a 15th and a 17th, if I recall correctly, after just checking a minute ago on Wikipedia. I'm going to go with Sergio Sette Camara for stay away from.
Sergio Sette Camara.
Yeah.
Making sure I do not derp on his last name, because if I do, I'm throwing Microsoft Physics off a mountain. Knowing David's going to do that.
He was going to Google Maps down the mountain.
And your dark horse.
To be honest, I kind of liked his performance at Mexico. I think he has a pretty good shot to actually be a championship contender again in his career. Give me Nick Cassidy.
Ooh, good.
Yeah. Who do you think I was going to pick with? Mortara? I'm sorry, he's past his prime. Same with Sam Bird.
All right, Ormy, you're up.
Oh, okay. Do I have to win?
Are you writing them down, or do you want me to write them down?
You can write it down. Do I have to win? You know what? I wanted to see him win once. For once. I want to see that driver win. My driver to win, Sebastian Buemi.
Oh, somebody didn't pick. Oh, wait. Does that mean I bring this line back? You should have picked him. You should have picked him. Now he's on. Welcome back.
Yeah, here's the problem. The whole Stealing Picks whole thing is pretty much expired due to an influx of panelists. That's something we had to do in the middle of last season.
Even though there's only 4 of us doing picks as far as this recording television is concerned.
Yeah, picking far in advance. But yeah, I'm probably going to wrap it up over here. Hey, Stephanie, what you doing in there? Show
Here's your stay away from, Ormy. That was novel.
What?
That was a novel concept. Who's your stay away from, Ormy?
Oh, stay away from, I'm gonna say stay away from, Eduardo Mortara. Because,
I would expect him to struggle more throughout the weekend, and he will now have a good weekend in Saudi Arabia.
And your dark horse.
Dark horse, I could say Jihan Daruvula.
Ooh, you're taking Daruvula.
Yes, I expect him to have a bounce back weekend after that disappointing first race of his Formula E career, and hopefully everything goes well for him.
And now it is me. So I'm going to just do this differently. I'm going to say my dark horse.
Okay, so dark horse first.
How about Norman Nato as my dark horse?
Okay.
No, I didn't want Nato capitalized, you darping phone. Stay away from Mitch Evans.
Mitch Evans. Okay.
Nobody picked him, so we're good. And my winner?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Jean-Eric Verne, J-E-V.
Jean-Eric Verne. Okay.
Yep. All right, boys. Any final thoughts before we kick off the Saudi Arabian weekend, including being back on the show for the first time in forever? Yes, I did not steal that song lyrics from Frozen, but anyway, Orby?
Yeah, I say it's great to be back on this show. It's been a long time since we last been on this show, and I expect the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix weekend will be a good weekend for us, and we can enjoy it.
Zachary Taylor?
Well, definitely feels kind of weird being back on Triple P.
Yeah, the best part is we're doing this all on Twitch TV, so we're going to have a wonderful time this season. Go on, Taylor.
But definitely something that we'll have to readjust to being back on the show. But definitely, I think we'll see an interesting race at Saudi Arabia, and I think we'll see some good racing happen there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
For me, it's going to be very exciting to have panelists back, and we're going to have a fun time on this show. Let's take a look at this week's upcoming PCSRA Triple P fun events, brought to you by our friends at Coke Zero. Real Coca-Cola taste, 0 calories. Next week on Triple P, we're going to recap the Saudi Arabian E-Prix. We'll rate our weekend, go over the top stories, preview the 2024 NASCAR season, which will have Sean Art on the show so far. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we look forward to this week's upcoming PCSRA awesome events presented by Coke Zero. Real Coca-Cola taste, 0 calories. The Oklahoma Highway Safety Office is a proud sponsor of Triple P and wants to remind you that drinking and driving is deadly and illegal. Together we can end DUI. Visit enduyok.com for more details. With that being said, thank you guys so much for joining me for episode 176 of Triple P and the third episode of the 2024 season. If you guys like this awesome show, be sure to give it a like. If you haven't considered subscribing yet, I highly recommend you do so in order to keep up with some wonderful content coming out in the near future, as well as future episodes of your favorite podcast coming out throughout the rest of this week and onward to the next. On behalf of Cody Smart, Nathan Orman, and Zachary Taylor, I'm Daniel Volas, aka PCSRA Blue Hedgehog 26, signing off saying you have been watching yet another wonderful broadcast courtesy of PCSRA TV. As we celebrate 14 years as the best NR racing around the world since 2017. We hope you enjoy your rest of your Wednesday, and we say we've survived another episode of this wonderful podcast. We'll see you next week on Triple P. Until then, sing the day, everybody.